You work so hard. You show up every day. You do what's expected of you. But deep down, you know the truth. One paycheck shouldn't decide how your life turns out. But what if your evenings meant progress? What if your weekends built freedom? What if your laptop became more than just a screen? This isn't about quitting your job. It's about giving yourself options. While others scroll, you start building. Quietly, consistently, and on your own terms. No pressure, no guessing. Just a clear system you can run after work, before work, or whenever life gives you a turn. That's what Goldmine on hustlesafrica.com is for.
Tuesday.
Haikuzo makasi ni watafute uongozi pamoja wasitafute.
Kweli una maana gani? Una maana wewe ni binadamu ya mavi ya kuku.
Mashamba yetu harambe.
Nguruwe kujikanga na mafuta yake, na Afrika itakwisha.
Padani agosho ngai no mwega naende shode.
Wakati hiyo ilikuwa ukisema ngwe ndani ngwe.
In fact, one of the clashes that we're having with county governors is that they don't want monies that go to counties to be ring-fenced for specific purposes. But the frustration that is on the ground, and I'm sure colleague senators will agree, is that whenever we lump the county money in the equitable share, most of the times the governors do what they want with that money. The governor of Mombasa appeared before us and told us that the reason why the county governments don't want to employ the UHC workers who are outside our gate just now on permanent and pensionable is because they wanted the money that was disbursed under the County Government Additional Allocations Act to be put in the, what is it called, the equitable share. And Chair, the fear is that this money, once you lump it together with the equitable share, most of the things this House wants to see done are not done. In fact, there was a debate here, I don't know if you remember. We wish, as a Senate, we would ring fence money for payment of contractors. Because this issue of pending bills has gone on for too long. People come to our offices, Honorable Chair, with all sorts of complaints and so on and so forth. So we asked the governor of Wajir, who's the chair of the COG, we asked the governor, why don't you discuss the additional money that this Senate has fought for? Because as a collective, governors are getting an extra 13 billion shillings, which is actually more than the 8 billion that is going for the PNP for the UHC workers. What is the difference between the 13 billion that we have added as a Senate and the 8 billion that is under county government's additional allocation? Why can't they use the extra money from the Senate under the equitable share, the 13 billion, to have these UHC workers on permanent and pensionable? And they don't have an answer. So we are growing increasingly frustrated, Honorable Speaker.
Hello, people of the internet. My name is not Jagero. My name is Trisha Wayua, and I am the one who will be keeping you company from this moment all the way to 10 p.m. right here on the Political Headache podcast. And tonight I am joined by one Samuel Wendal. This is a political analyst and an aspiring member of Parliament of Embakasi East constituency right here in Nairobi, kule kwa Babu Owino. And then I also have Ken Babu. He is also a political analyst and a Nairobi senatorial aspirant come 2027. These are the people who are going to accompany me together with you right here on this podcast. And therefore this week, by the way, on the political temperatures, you've just heard what was happening in the upper house, the Senate. You had Sifuna there, and there are a lot of things that happened in the course of this week. Politically, the temperatures have been so high this week, by the way. I don't know how many degrees, but I know politically, because people were looking forward to see what happens even at the National Assembly in terms of the finance bill and so many other issues that took place this week. So even before we get to the houses, this week, there is something that is so, a major thing that happened. We are talking about the 155 billion shillings, the Adani, the modernization of the JKIA. So we saw the government has bypassed privately financed concession models, which you remember that time, it triggered a lot of public blowback at that time and a lot of legal battles. But now it has changed and it has appointed a regional lenders, that is the Trade and Development Bank and the Africa Finance Corporation, to arrange for a 1.2 billion US dollars financing package for the modernization of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. So now, people are asking, why this? What is happening? So I have my analyst here in the studio. Wendell,
yes.
What is this?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Samuel Wendell, and as you have said correctly, I am a governance expert, a political analyst by excellence, and of course I'm aspiring member of parliament for Embakasi East constituency come next year. And Tricia, whatever you've asked, I think it's a good question. I believe that this country, there's been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Something to do with suspicion, that in case we want to, do any project, well, so under this administration, there are always those setbacks and propaganda and so many stories are around it, which when you look at it in the long term, is not helping this particular country anymore. For example, you've talked about the JKIA, the expansion.
Yes.
Tricia, what we have at JKIA is like a cowshed. We need a modern airport. And the unfortunate thing is that anytime the government tries to have one, we see court cases, court injunction. Somebody runs to the court. Somebody, and it's very unfortunate that even today we still have those, judges in these courts who are activists. Judicial activism. I call them judicial activism. Look at the Adani case, for example. This particular individual called Adani, and when I looked at those particular agreement, I think it could have been a good deal for us. But because I think there was lack of communication or proper channel of communication, it was blown out of context. You see, the same Adani went to the US, and today they are going to invest there. Close to 10 billion USD in the US. But what happened here? We lacked an opportunity to expand our airport. The same Adani is expanding or building a new airport in Rwanda. Okay? Look at countries like Ethiopia. They're doing the same. So we said last time that fine, you people didn't want Adani. But you see, at the end of the day, we need an airport. So what do we do? That's why the government has resorted to what it's doing currently. But you see, it's very unfortunate that somebody, again, has gone to court. At times, I believe that this country, we need a benevolent dictator for things to happen.
Don't you think it's the acts that have been done by the government that are making them to be suspected? Every time they are making a move, people suspect them, because look at the agreement right now. We are talking about they want now to utilize regional development financial institutions, and what they are establishing is build first, and then now the concession will be later. You understand? We built first because they're using part of the proceeds of privatization, like the pipeline. And then now you want to tell us now later we will be having issues of transparency, we'll be having issues of how did we get here? What will the government tell people?
You see, the problem, maybe according to me, part of the government, there has been that lack of communication. More so when they want to, do these particular deals, or they want to do these particular constructions. The thing that we must agree as a people is that we need an airport. We need a new one. That's a fact. But now the question comes in, how do we fund it? Okay? Remember the other day, the infrastructure fund, that particular bill, and you've said correctly that the proceeds of privatization, like now the Kenya pipeline, they were supposed to be channeled there and help us in doing this. Remember, Tricia, we must agree that we can't tax people more to build. That's a fact. So what do? We must think outside the box. So I believe that because of these communication challenges, maybe the government can do what we call maybe public participation, maybe just to get the view of the people. What do they think about now the way that the government wants to approach this particular issue?
Okay.
Yes.
You know, I would have asked you, like, why are we not thinking outside the box by cutting down on the expenditures of this country? Because I understand there is a problem. Yeah, we don't want to tax Kenyans more,
Yes.
but we can cut on our cost as a country. Well, let's come to Senator, incoming Senator for Nairobi, Senator Ken Babu. Yeah. So why do you think the government wants to do things while it's like they are hiding?
You know, Tricia, Kenyans are more concerned about where this country is heading to. But if you look at how the Kenya Kwanza regime, led by His Excellency Mr. William Ruto, to some extent they do not give so much concern and interest into what Kenyans are asking for. That's why my brother is saying that we should think outside the box. So we are going to think outside the box after decisions have already been made. He's now telling us that we should think outside the box when the deal is already there. Get that? From the onset, where this issue of the moment we were done with the Dani case and all that and court dragging, if there was a bidding that had already been started, I'm very certain that many Kenyans were not aware of this thing until it erupted on the magazines and gazettes all over. That is the challenge. That is the problem. That's where the problem starts. You want to sell, for instance, you want to sell KICC, but you do things behind the scenes, and then when the deal is now almost, that's when Kenyans are getting to know. And when they ask questions, you now start bringing the argument of public participation, thinking out of the box and all that. Let me tell you reasons why Kenyans are so much unsettled with this issue of JKIA and all that airport issues. Number one, I want to agree with my brother and the government on this. We need to refurbish that airport. I've had the privilege of moving out of this country. And I can tell you, in comparison to what I've seen outside this nation, also in the Europe, we do not have an airport. What we have here is, I can say that we are operating on an airstrip. That's an equivalent of some airstrip somewhere in Kabunde in Omabi, because it does not even match what we should call as an airport. We need to refurbish that airport. But now the process, you get that? The openness, the transparency in the process. Because we are not looking, we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we put up a budget and we know at the end of the day it is Kenyans who will pay it, but 50% or 60% of the budget goes into somebody's pocket, and then we are left with a job not completely finished for another regime to pick it up from there. So what I'm saying is this. You know, on this issue of airport reconstruction, we've had Wicknell Chivayo coming up with the IMC construction company, and that is when Kenya started asking questions, because Chivayo, the Wicknell guy, has been marked not only in Kenya but even in other parts of Africa. People question his integrity. People are asking questions about him. So sometimes it's not about the project. It's about the people who are being put at the center of that project. Their level of integrity is questionable, and the historical background of things they've done in other countries are also sending shockwaves to the citizens. So Kenyans are asking, if Adani that he mentioned did all those good things, but then why is it that the Adani himself was bad in some countries not to run projects? And remember,
you should answer that.
And remember, I know he's taking notes. He will respond to that. And remember, this Wickmill guy is also a questionable man with a questionable character. So Kenyans are saying, this is a personal friend to the president. It is not this business that is putting them together. These are people who have done any other different businesses before. So if a bid was placed, the probability of my friend winning the tender, if I'm the president, are so high. That's the situation we are in right now.
Of course, yes.
That's the situation we are in now. So Kenyans are asking for legitimacy of this guy. Where is the process? How was it done? How did it land that IMC construction company, which by extent is an affiliate company of the president? So people are asking, that is what they call, that's what the bond is. That is what the bond is. And remember the CS for treasury, for transport, Davis Chichir, once mentioned that that company, IMC Construction, did not bid for the project. These are things that are in the public domain. He mentioned that they did not bid for the project, and he also said that the company was not part of the consortium of the companies that were bidding for that project. But at the end of the day, we are told that this is the company that was awarded the tender. That is where the question, that's where Kenyans are asking.
Yeah.
Is the intention clear? Is the intention transparent? They can build the airport, but with transparency.
So Wendell,
Yes.
You want to respond. Why is Adani being denied the chance to operate in some countries?
You see, I'm not here to talk on behalf of Adani. But let me say the following. The problem that we have in this country is propaganda. Okay? Propaganda on part of the opposition, and then on part of the government, there's that lack of clear communication at times.
Yes.
For example, Tricia, look at the issue of Ebola. 3 weeks ago, we had, I think it's even 2 weeks ago, we had demonstrations, okay, in Nanyuki. Oh, they want to import Ebola here. And actually, some people, they even lost their lives.
True.
You remember that time?
So sad, yeah?
It's very unfortunate. But now, since that time up to today, have you heard of any case, any Ebola case in this country that has been reported?
Not yet.
Not yet. So it means these were just political propaganda by the opposition to whip up the emotion of the citizens. Okay? But now, on the side of the government, they did not communicate. Because, you see, the moment you keep quiet, there's what we call grapevine, and it spreads so fast. The moment that the government kept quiet about this, okay, the government was reactive instead of informing us, informing the citizens that, you know what, we have an Ebola outbreak. We need to take some precautions, okay? We need to build those stuff so that at least we prepare for this. But you see, the government did not do that at the right time. They started reacting. Now,
okay, let me ask you
Yes.
before you continue.
Yes.
Is that by design or is it just a failure, a genuine failure? Because Kenyans feel like this is by design because, for example, for the Ebola, remember Kenyans, they started getting the wave of this, there is a planned something between Kenyan government, Sweden, and the US. You know, we started hearing about this on social media. That is from people from abroad. They are the ones who started saying, oh, you see now America has agreed to do this and this with the Kenyan government. So why is it that the government wants just to do things the way they want without now informing the citizens? Now, after they have been caught, that's when now they start now communicating.
You can't say that they have been caught because you see, the issue here is
that's the right term.
I think
they were caught.
Have you been paid by? Anyway, you see, the issue here is I think there's just that laxity on part of the government when it comes to communication, proper channel. You see, the way I said grapevine, there's a way that it spreads so fast. And today, if I had propaganda on my left, and then now the right information on my right, okay? Then I take both these two information to the people. The people will believe the propaganda because they love, something which is not real. Those lies, that's what they want to hear. Now, they have said, these people, the government could have done better to communicate because the way whatever they were doing, they were reactive. Because there's an issue. Then later on, after people have talked about it, then you come and tell us, okay, fine, we were supposed to do this. There's a way that people will see you. And I think there was that particular laxity. The same way here. Look at, he has mentioned the issue of this guy called Chivai. that, Chivayo has been associated with the president and all that. The truth of the matter is, and I love what CS, what Chirchir did yesterday, okay? Because of this propaganda by Geoffrey and the team, actually, he called for a press and said that this Chivayo guy is not even part and parcel of this particular deal. Fine, he might be a friend to the president, but that one does not give him, the leeway of doing this particular project. He has mentioned about IMC. I think the CS, pronounced himself about these issues yesterday when the journalists were asking him about Chivayo guy and all this particular. So I love what the CS did, that particular communication. There's a way that it settled issues yesterday, so that this propaganda that is being propagated by, Geoffrey and the team doesn't thrive, doesn't get to the people. Yes.
By Geoffrey, you mean Rigathi Gachagua, eh?
My brother is out to try and interfere with our 45 days break, and we will not allow it. Let me just say something about the Chivayo guy. It's in the public domain that Chivayo guy is one of the directors at IMC Construction Company, which is at the center of the renovation of JKIA. And it cannot go without saying that Chivayo is a personal friend to the president. A personal friend to the president. The fellow have been into different business with the president, and their friendship is too close to an extent that when such a big project comes up, and it is said that a company that he sits in as a director has been awarded the tender, and we all have the background knowledge of how, he has got integrity questions, then we ask questions. Because Kenyans are not saying that he cannot build the airport. Kenyans are just saying, where's the transparency in all this construction? Because we don't want to end up in a situation where we put up a budget and it's a loan that will be paid by taxpayers, but then the project does not go as per expectation, where we do 60% and leave the 40% for other people to do, whereas we allocated full amount to do the project. So that is why it is. It is not propaganda. It is something in the public domain. And Waziri coming out and clarifying or agreeing that this guy did not bid, it puts inashikisha serikali handball. Kwamba huyu jamaa hakubid na huyu jamaa ndio kampuni yake end director hapo ameshinda. So the government is preaching water and drinking changa in this case. On the issue of Ebola, and I've heard my brother say that he hasn't heard of anybody dying of Ebola. I agree.
Not even dying, any case. Any case.
So far I've not heard of any. Yes.
I'm not disputing that nobody has died of Ebola, or we've not had a case of Ebola. But this government, the biggest undoing of this government is communication, like you mentioned. And you said very well that walishikwa, wakaanza kutueleza. Ati Ebola imefanya sijui nini. If Kenyans could have not gone to the streets in Laikipia, led by the Laikipia Senator John Kinyua, I want to tell you that maybe this story ya Ebola ingewe mecheza tu chini. If it were not for Rigathi Gachagua and the United Opposition Principles, who called for a presser and gave statistical evidence and facts about the state of Ebola and the deals that have been sealed and the amount of money allocated by the US government, today we could not be talking about Ebola issues. Tungeshtukia tu quarantine center ishajengwa pale. But the question was not even the construction itself. The concern is two issues. One, the money that was allocated for that Ebola thing. You see, Kenyans are more concerned with the transparency part of it. Number two, the choice of the choice of the construction center. This is a center that is going to, it will help the entire country. Yes. But it calls for public participation. Were the people of Laikipia consulted? It doesn't matter if, I heard the government saying that, Laikipia Air Base is a military facility and it is central location. Well, those might be factors. But still, the government must understand that there are people living in Laikipia. who also need to be consulted on this matter before that decision is made. Why didn't they take it to Kisumu then? Why didn't they take it to Sugoi?
But let me ask you, because the government said that there are some 22 more, right?
Yes,
22 more of these facilities that they wanted to put in our country. Why was the noise so much on the Laikipia one?
The noise was so much on the Laikipia one, eh?
Yeah.
Because the hapo ndo walishikwa. I started by saying that this government does not communicate. This government is just talking. What they are doing is talking. There is no communication.
Yeah, because they communicated about the 22 after now the
Laikipia one imelipuka.
Yes.
Kumaanisha ile Laikipia ingelipuka, hata 22 maybe ingejengwa. Sema bwana ile pesa ilikuja tukajenga Laikipia, pesa imeisha. But what we are saying is each and every country has a responsibility to prepare against any pandemic, including Ebola. But the government must communicate. They must stop talking. Duhali, the CS for health, did not give us any constructive guidelines on this matter. In fact, the only thing he said that we are not going to consult anybody about this construction. If you are sick of Ebola, you should be treated where you are. And now Kenyans were asking him, why is it that Americans who have contracted Ebola are supposed to be brought here in Kenya? Why can't they be treated in America where they have contracted Ebola? If it's true that ukigonjeka unafaa utibiwe mahali umegonjeka.
Well, I think that's how quarantine should be. It should be, if there's an outbreak, then it should be contained in that area where there is the origin. So for America to come to want to come to Kenya, of course, there were the agreements that they were talking about, and so many maybe other factors, yeah?
Not really, Tricia. You see, he's so mean with the truth. The truth of the matter is this. Kenya is not an isolated country.
Yes.
Tricia, do we have Americans here?
We have.
They are here?
Yes.
So the question is, if maybe by bad luck they contact that Ebola, where are they supposed to be treated?
They will be treated in the hospitals where Kenyans are being treated. Exactly.
That's why we were building that. We were building that quarantine area. Because you see, that place. The problem with them, and I talked about propaganda and spinning information so that it can suit the people, the ears of the people, so that at least they can be emotional. The problem with them, they only think that Americans from DRC, from Uganda, and other parts of the country, of Africa will be brought here, not knowing that we have Americans here. We have a full-fledged UN is here. So when these people, they contract Ebola, where are they supposed to be treated? And at times, I said here before, when we started the show, that at times, I always feel like we need a benevolent dictator. Because look at this.
What are you saying?
Yes, because there are some things today, if we were to have that Ebola outbreak in this country, the same people who are spinning propaganda, okay? I call them the scavengers. You see, these scavengers, they are the same people who will now ask us, oh, nyinyi mlikuwa mnajua Ebola inakuja, what did you do? The same characters. So the government must be prepared to combat such kind of diseases. Because if we don't do that, they'll accuse us of sleeping on our jobs.
Okay. Let me ask you, yes. let me ask you, Teresa, if Gachagua and the United Opposition Principles could have not called for that presser and talk about Ebola and give Kenyans the nitty-gritties, the information, the budget, I want to tell you that we could not be talking about Ebola today in this country. That was a Pandora box that was opened by Rigathi Gachagua. When he questioned, and if you look at his approach on this matter, was the issue of public participation. Because number one, we had issue with how the government arrived at Laikipia.
Okay.
Even before talking about the budget. How did they arrive at Laikipia as the base of the first name? If you are going to construct 22, why is it that the government has not communicated the other 22 centers, proposed locations? Why? So that is what we in the opposition, we question the government. Tell us, How did you arrive at Laikipia being the first center? And what are the other 22 centers? If you mean you want to construct 22, where are the other 21 centers? And what is the budget? So that Kenyans can operate, so that you can operate in a transparent and open manner.
Okay.
Kila mtu ajue, nyinyi mkiona mawazungu ikikuja hapa, kutakuwa na Ebola inajengwa hapa Homa Bay. Unaipata? Na mkiona wazungu wamekuja hapa, utajengwa nyingine hapa Seikuru. So that Kenyans operate in a state of understanding.
Okay.
Lakini serikali is not communicating. They are just talking, like my brother is just talking.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Let's cross over to something else, and this is about the Mount Kenya fragmentation as we head towards 2027 elections. And for this week's political temperatures, that's why I said the temperatures this week were quite high. Yeah, and I'm looking at Ruku, CS.
Yes.
For public service, cabinet, that is Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku. You remember he publicly floated a political realignment between the Mount Kenya East, that is the likes of Embu, Meru, and Mount Kenya West. And then he drew accusations that the state is actively trying to balkanize the region's voting bloc. You remember that?
Yes.
That is now, and you saw the Mount Kenya, followers of Rigathi Gachagua, the DCP, they came out and said that they were so much on CS Ruku because of the statements that he made. So I don't know what you have to say. I know we have somebody from DCP right here in the studio. That is Ken Babu. Ken Babu, how would you describe the battle for the vote of the rich Mount Kenya? We say it is rich in votes. Yes.
7.5. 7.5 million.
Where are you getting the 7.5 from?
That's a good question.
Let me say this first. On the issue of CS Ruku.
Yes.
First, I want to say that in the country, in the history of this country, we've had very, very many ministers holding the docket of public service.
Yes.
We've had Dalmas Otieno the late. We've had Paulo Tuoma has been there. We've had Margaret Kobia was there. We've had Cecil Karaoke. JB Muturi has been there. And then now we have CS Ruku. Of all those ministers, there has never been a clueless, rudderless, and misinformed minister of public service like what we have today in the name of CS Geoffrey Ruku.
Support your claims, please.
The fellow is a one-term MP who did not even finish his term, but before then had failed 5 times. Then out of sympathy of Justin Muturi, he was handed over the seat like a small baby while crying, could not leave Siakago, crying like a baby. And then comes in as a CS and has not done anything. He hasn't brought any reforms to the public service. In fact, the commandate of that office has not been put to practice since Waziri Ruku came to office. Kazi yake ni mbili, kuamka asubuhi, kutembea kwa streets na rungu. Sio anatisha wafanyikazi. But what we are saying is this. The sentiments by CS Ruku are I would say divisive and should not come from a sitting cabinet secretary. As per the ethics and code of conduct in that office, if William Ruto was serious about integrity, CS Ruku just by on that ground peke yake angefaenda nyumbani. If Rigathi Gachagua was impeached on the basis of ethnic balkanization, then what is Ruku doing in the office? If that was the grounding. So what I'm saying is this. The mountain is united at the hip joint. It's united at the hip joint. Na iwezi sambaratika. If you listen to leaders from Embu County, led by the Manyata MP, Honorable Gitonga Mukunji.
Yes.
They are very clear in their mind. They are very clear that Embu is part of the mountain as it has been before.
And Meru.
Meru is part of the mountain. And if you listen to Peter Munya and Mithika Linturi talking, the communication is very clear. Embu and Meru are part of the mountain as they have been before. It cannot happen that Ruku is the one to dictate which part becomes the mountain and which part does not become the mountain.
So where are you taking?
And
yes,
this conversation is being spinned around by Kenya Kwanza regime to split the mountain and reduce the support base of Rigathi Gachagua. Because they've realized that this Mzee has taken over the mountain and today he's carrying the mountain on his back. Anatembea na mlima kwa mgongo. Unanipata? So that is the plan. But let me tell you, if today Ruku was told, okay, you want Mount Kenya East, you want Embu. In fact, you want Embu. Well, take Embu.
And Meru.
Yes. And now go to the ballot and let's see how you're going to form the government. It's not possible. It is not possible. So what Ruku is saying is divisive, retrogressive, and it's not a conversation we should be having today. And it should not come from a sitting cabinet secretary who is supposed to serve the entire country. The moment he starts thinking that way, he's already isolating other communities. He is already isolating other communities from the government.
Well, that's okay now. That is from the government side. But what about now politically? That's on the side of the supporters that are on this side of Professor Abraham.
But you saw even the CS now the PS. PS is it Washira or somebody? PS for Energy or somebody. Disagreed with Ruku in that meeting. The same meeting that Ruku was saying that Mount Kenya is Embu and Meru are not part of Mount Kenya. The same meeting that PS disagreed with him. That tells you that it is not a conversation that has been agreed with by the community. It's an individual interest and possibility probably is being pushed by somebody else outside Mount Kenya, which in this case, your guess is mine. Get that? So I will tell you that even Bwana Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, I cannot get him on record saying such because he knows the consequences that would befall him if he's given that, okay, take Tharaka Nithi, Meru and Embu as yours and then leave the Mount Kenya West as you've been saying that Mount Kenya West and East, leave it to Rigathi Gachagua. Okay. But what I can tell you today, as a bona fide member of that faction, the mountain is united. The mountain is in block. And Rigiji, right, today is day 5 of Rigathi Gachagua's 45 days of consultation. And in this period of consultation, he's just doing very basic things.
Yes.
He's doing consolidation, strategizing, organizing, and planning on how to ensure that we deliver a successful regime in 2027.
Okay,
and part of that consolidation
is
to ensure that the mountain comes in as a block.
Okay.
And today, he held a meeting with members of parliament who are aligned to DCP party, who actually voted no to take this finance bill home. Yesterday, he held a meeting with over 1,000 aspirants across the country, including an MP aspirant from Ruku's village. Why didn't Ruku stop them from coming? If he did, he believes that they are not part of the mountain.
Okay, so Wendell,
yes.
Do you think this is a confirmation of what is actually happening on the ground? What CS Ruku said?
You see, our constitution allows us, give us the freedom of speech.
Yes.
And to express ourselves.
Sure.
And it's now, therefore, not anybody's prerogative to dictate to you what you're supposed to say. You have that particular freedom and right. And, politics is always about interest, so to speak. And because whatever the CS said, I think, first of all, CS is a Kenyan before he becomes a CS. Okay? And I think in his own right, whatever he said, we don't need to read much politics into it for the following reason. The CS said something very simple, that you people, if you don't want to support us this time round, better we divide the mountain. Where's the problem with that? Look at this tree here. Look at this tree here. You know, what I hate most in my life is politics of deceit, politics of conmanship. That's what we are seeing with Geoffrey and the team. Okay? You see, the debate about Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West normally pops up when we are gearing towards the next election. That's when now they tell you about Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West. But immediately after election, you'll never hear about such kind of a conversation.
Yeah.
So Ruku is right. Mount Kenya West, just to state facts, you know, I consume data. Mount Kenya West, when you look at history, they have supported, Mount Kenya East have supported Mount Kenya West for 39 years. Okay?
Yeah.
The first president of this country was from the West. He served close to 18 years. Kibaki came in, did 10 years, West. Uhuru came in, did another 10 years, West. But now, this time round, the East, they have a deputy president for the first time. They're having a deputy president. They are saying, guys, why can't you back us up this time round? What do you get from Geoffrey? Oh, sauti kama ya sijui nini. Anaitwa soprano. You know, the guy starts name calling him. So are they trying to tell us that Kenyans from Mount Kenya East, they don't deserve their support? Is that what they're trying to say? Because this is the first time we are having a sitting deputy president from that part of the world. But see, they are calling him names. Soprano. So what I'm saying is, Ruku is right, that this time round, if you people don't want to back that guy, better they chart their own political path. But that's something that Wamunyoro and the team doesn't want to have a discussion about. They become emotional because they know that the moment they go that way, they're going to lose. You know, he keeps on telling us that, you know, even he has mentioned here that there was an aspirant from Ruku's village. Tricia, look at the finance bill, how these people voted. For example,
we are coming
we'll
there.
come
Yes.
there, but just
yes.
In the whole of Mount Kenya, out of 74 MPs or elected position in that house, maybe talk of 73 because the Olkalau guy is not there. Rigiji or Wamunyoro only managed 7. But he managed 7 out of threats, intimidation, and everything.
Threats from who?
Wamunyoro.
Threatening who?
He threatened these particular MPs that if you don't vote in a certain way, then we are going to deal with you.
Evidence kwa karatasi bwana.
I have them here. In fact, you can even look at the Bunge website. They are there.
You know, Tricia.
7, and I can mention names.
I don't have issues with
please,
7, but if he says that these 7 were threatened to vote in favor of the people, that is a propaganda. That is what we are saying. This government is not communicating. They are just talking.
Do you have any evidence?
Yes.
Where's the evidence?
Where is it?
Substantiate.
He said, in fact, it's on record.
Substantiate.
He has been saying that we pray the people. We hope that the people from this region are going to stand with Kenyans.
So that is
that a threat?
No, that's a threat. In fact, you see, that's what he told.
That's the hope.
But now, behind the scenes, he was calling them individually and telling them, if you don't do this, then we are going to deal with you. So out of all that, he managed 7. So what I'm saying is, you people allow CS Ruku to say what he's saying, and this time round, if the Mount Kenya West are going to be selfish, okay? Because they are talking about the presidency again, and they're expecting a backup from Mount Kenya East. I think if you people decide to go that way, I'll back what Ruku is saying. He has mentioned here that Geoffrey was impeached because he has talked about ethnic balkanization. I think that was just one of the grounds. But the major ground was, this guy, he was implicated, okay, in the mosquito net scandal. How do you steal, stuff that are going to help women?
Okay,
wait
a minute.
These are
those are what?
So this was one of the main aim as to why this guy was thrown out of the office. So you can't tell us you can't just talk about ethnic balkanization without mentioning the stealing of mosquito nets, because he knows that the moment he crosses over to that path, chances are very high that you will not get a DCP certificate to run for Nairobi Senate.
You know, Tricia, my brother is now deviating from the context of the conversation, and that is why the government is failing. Because you say if you can imagine, it's just one, and the government has got 22 like him in the cabinet, people would not communicate, just talking. Now we are talking about very serious issue here, ethnic balkanization, and tribal diarrhea by C.S. Ruku. And he's now bringing here some matters that not.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me ask you. Do you think a divided Mount Kenya right now, as we speak, can really deliver a presidency to either of the coalitions?
Well, a divided Mount Kenya will not be the wish of anybody, including the president. That's what I've told you, that in the same meeting where C.S. Ruku was talking like a small child, a PS with whom they serve the same government disagreed with him, and they come from the same area. Yet, what we are saying is this: we would not want this country to divide in any way. That's why when I hear people say that John Mbadi is not a Luo, I disagree with them. If he's not a Luo, then who is he? He comes from that region. He's been elected there almost 4 times. Didn't the people of Suba South know that John Mbadi is not a Luo? All this while, they just realized that he's not a Luo because he's a CS. No. So CS Ruku cannot tell us that he woke up yesterday and realized that what we are Embu, Meru, and Tarakanita are not Mountanians. Get that? When he was looking for votes in Siakago, that is in Mbere, why didn't he tell them that you guys are not Mountanians? Lakini nataka munipe kura. So it's politics of segregation. It's politics of selfish interest, like he mentioned. And CS Ruku is trying to service something so that he can get something for himself. And it's not in the interest of the community. When Rigathi Gachagua calls for the unity of the mountain, he's calling for the unity of the mountain so that when they go to the table, because politics of this country up to date is regional politics. When they go to the table with reasonable number that can help them bargain for the regional balance in terms of leadership. When Papa Aroma is talking about the Western politics, or Paranya is talking about Western politics, I mean, everybody is consolidating their base, and CS Ruku cannot and should not go that direction he's going, or else he intends to break this country. And if he's doing so and nothing has happened so far, then we take the dog to the owner, and we both know the owner of the dog, who feeds the dog, who ensure that the dog is well fed to go and spew insults. So, let me just say this. I said that we are on day 5, and everybody is now crying. Just day 5, and we have 40 more days to go, and my brother is not resting. They are sweating. The president had to cut short his trip in G7 France just to come back home because he heard of day 5 and things are now getting messy. Day 5, yesterday we were in Wamunyoro, and we, the bona fide members of the party, we tasked the party leader Rigathi Gachagua with specific instructions. We gave him the mandate to consult widely, bring on board all stakeholders, professionals, young people, women, everybody across the country, different regions. Let him hear from them. But he must not forget one thing, that he is the presidential candidate of the party. So when he goes to the table, once this consultation are done, he must remind his core principles that the party has sent him on the table as the presidential candidate. So whatever the principals will do with that information, it is up to them in that room. But we, the members of the party and his lieutenants, we are saying that he is the presidential candidate. So those are part of the consultation we are having. And like I said, we are doing very basic things. We are consulting, we are strategizing, we are deliberating on issues, and we are planning. Na nyinyi mkikaka hivi mnakaa, you are not communicating, you are just talking. Mnalamba upepo, my friend.
You see, if there's one thing that can't give the president sleepless night, is what they are doing in Wamnyoro.
What are you saying?
What is saying, man?
And
tomorrow, yesterday they could not catch sleep. They could not catch a sleep.
In fact, forget about the president. Me as an individual. In fact, I'll sleep, I'll dream. You know, he's trying to paint a picture, creating a mountain out of an anthill. Let me ask you, Tricia. You know, they talk big, but when it comes to delivery, there's nothing. These people, Let me take you back.
Yes.
We had some by-elections here. They consulted. They went to Vibandas. They ate with Mama Mboga. They did everything. Okay? For example, when they were campaigning in Bayere North, what happened? He did everything in what is calling consultation and all that. They lost the seat. The MCA slots or by election as well, Vuvura or whatever, they again lost. Right now, what they were doing yesterday, and I got wind of what they were doing. Forget about what he's saying here. I don't know, organizing.
Well,
What happened?
I was there.
Tell Kenyans what happened.
These people,
Yes.
one, they were doing a fundraiser. Because apparently I'm told that they don't have enough money.
No, you have to
Remember-
substantiate.
Hold
You have to
on.
substantiate.
Please
That's a very
protect-
evil allegation.
Protect me.
That's a very evil allegation.
Protect me. Why are you jittery?
No, you have to substantiate. I mean, you have to put material
Allow him
facts.
to finish. Allow him
Please.
to finish, please. Yes.
I'm told that they don't have enough money for the Olkalau by-election. Okay? You remember when he went to UK, okay, to go and try and raise and, solicit some funds to come back and use it for campaign purposes. The guy was supposed to be there for a month, okay?
Yes.
But, the advance team, I think things didn't work. People didn't buy into their ideas. The advance team ended up in, Old Trafford and Emirates to go and watch a live match. Okay, Arsenal was playing against some football club. So, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that when they went there, they didn't get the money. So, yesterday, to try and, cajole and confuse people, yesterday, he summoned them. He told them that we want all aspirants to come here. Maybe one thing he's not telling us is that they were asked for some money because there are some contribution that they're supposed to give. So, they were told to come with vehicles, okay? And in case you didn't have one, you were told to do what? To hire or ask a friend to give you one. And that's why yesterday you could see around Wamunyoro area, what we were seeing was photos of vehicles to paint a picture that he has people. Remember, how many aspirants did the president met in State House? 12,000. In their camp, I think the figure was 700. Now, in this 700, for example, in a constituency like Tetu, or let's say Odaya, we had like 20 aspirants. So the thing was just revolving around Mount Kenya. So these people, I'm told, they raised some money to go and campaign in Olkalau. I think close to 100 million. Can you confirm? Close to 100 or 150 million. That's what they raised to go and campaign. So whatever you saw yesterday, whatever you saw cannot make the president to have sleepless nights. And I've said, forget about the president, take me as an example, I'll sleep.
Let me ask you,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
because you're citing the issue of the by-elections, and of course, this is a question that people are asking themselves, because, like, if you say, like, the united opposition, if you say, like, the DCP, you say this is your area, this is your region, you have control of that region. But then when it comes to by-elections, you lose the by-elections. So I just want to ask you, in your view, do you think the by-elections, what is the integrity of the by-elections that we've been conducting of late? And do you think they were free and fair without any?
Yeah, the elections, I think, and I've pronounced myself on this, the elections are always free and fair. Okay? And that's why they always have an agent. In any polling station, they had the agents. In fact, they complained last time when we had the Mbere North by-election. They went to court. Okay? We did a recount. And court confirmed what the IBC confirmed those days. You see, the problem that we have with the Joffrey team is they are good at spinning, okay? They are good at whipping emotions. So that whatever you see them talking about on social media is what you believe is happening on the ground, which is never the case. In Mbere North, for example, they painted a picture of the DP guy winning. Did he win? He didn't. To win an election and to campaign are two different things. Today, Look at Olkalau. These people, they have felt, they have sensed defeat in Olkalau, next month's by-election. To an extent that they are now telling non-residents to go home or to leave the constituency. And you've seen Kupet. Kupet, they have reported that 60 teachers have asked for transfers. They want to leave that particular place. You see the kind of fear that they're instilling on people because they know that they've lost or they're losing ground. And another thing I think maybe the reason as to why they're doing this is they want to provoke the government, maybe to arrest such kind of characters, so that once they are arrested, they want to whip emotions, okay, of the voters that so and so has been arrested, or we are being fought, and such kind of stuff. Something which is very, very unfortunate at this time, more so when we are preparing for the general election. So I want to call this particular team to order. Please advise your campaign team on the ground that campaign is about you convince me to vote for your candidate. You sell for me your agenda. But see, the moment you tell me that your agenda is, I don't know, is it Itugati or Itugati? Itugati is not an agenda.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's wind up on that.
Let me delve on this matter because it's have been mentioned adversely, and my party leader and of course my party is being
and condemn it here.
Is being painted badly on allegations that cannot be substantiated. Number one, on the issue of fundraising that is bringing up here, I think it will be wise enough and in the interest of the public so that it provides substantive evidence and material facts to that, because that was not part of the agenda, and that's a propaganda that I've been talking about, which should not be allowed in the politics of today. Two, you've talked about by-elections. DCP party has participated in about four by-elections, and is going to participate in the 5th by-election in Olkalau. The first by-election was in Nairobi, Kariobangi South, Kariobangi North, and we won the by-election in a tightly contested race where ODM had a candidate, UD had a candidate. With the billions and monies that were sent from State House, our candidate still took the day. Secondly, we had a by-election in Narok Town, which predominantly has been an ODM base. And in the spirit of broad base, ODM was given leeway by the UDA party to field. In fact, UDA also fielded a candidate in Narok Town, and they scored 74. Hata kura zao hazikufika 100 ya kutoa mtu hapa Nairobi kupeleka Kasarani. DCP won that election. We went to Kisa East by-election, the ward where Atuli comes from, at the center, at the heart of Kakamega. We won that by-election. And today the MC there comes from DCP. And then DCP went to Emura Dikir by-elections. Barely 1 month to elections. That's when we introduced our candidate. And he scooped about 13,000 in an area that is predominantly people from the president's side. And the president had invested up to his last coin in that elections. But still, they defeated us with about 2,000 votes only. That tells you the magnitude of the party. And today, and I can tell you here, just as you are sure that 25th will be Christmas, I want to tell my brother and the people of Kenya that we are very certain and sure that on 16th of July, at this time, this is 8:30 almost.
Yes.
On 16th of July, by 8:30 p.m., we shall have taken the Olkalau seat on a DCP ticket. And Kamau Douglas Waweru will be the MP of Olkalau. As I finish on that matter, by elections can be used to test the feeling on the ground. I agree with that. And what happened in Emura Dikir was an indication and a message to the president that we can still come to your bedroom and sleep on your bed and you will do nothing. Get that? And that is what Rigathi Gachagua did. He went to president's bedroom in Emuru Adikir without knocking and spent the night
there
on the president's bed, and then in the morning he went home.
Okay.
Smiling like nothing had happened.
Okay.
And if this violation has anything to go by, I want to tell you that 2027 will not be a walk in the park for Mr. William Ruto. Okay. Because remember, in the by-elections, people are concentrated on that seat. But in the general election, everybody is battling their own battle. Me, Ken Babu, will be battling my own battle. My brother here will be battling his own battle. So there is no point at which the president will even think of investing in you as an individual. Tukutane bunge. Tukutane bunge. Tukutane bunge. September tukutane bunge, my friend.
You know,
and I'm telling you, I'm likely to be the majority leader in Senate, because anyway, we are going to take the majority.
You know what he's saying, I think, is mean with the truth. Now, look at a place like Emuru Adikir. Historically, the first and the second, the winner, now the runners-up.
Yes.
The difference is always 3,000. I mean, 2,000 to 4,000 votes. That has always been the difference. But you see, this time round, the difference was even 5,000. No, something is lying to these people. Okay?
Yeah.
That if my party or your party participates in maybe a by-election in my area, and your candidate gets a certain amount of votes, that the people who voted for that particular candidate will definitely vote for them. That is a lie. That's a white lie. That, in fact, I'm preparing them so that next year they don't collapse.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want them to collapse. The moment they'll hear that, Mr. William Ruto has actually gotten a second term. You people, hold on. You people, what you need to do is, because I didn't even hear you address the Mbere North, where your guy participated, and I remember even the DP telling him that many
when you say our guy, which one do you mean?
Your party leader.
We didn't have a candidate in Mbere North.
Did he campaign? That's the question. Did he campaign? Did he campaign for the DP? Because the opposition fielded one candidate, and it took the center stage of campaigning for this particular guy.
That was not our child.
Now, you see,
that wasn't our child.
That is denial.
So you did give the best.
But that was not our child.
I say you did give the best.
Our child will be born on 16th of July.
They were embarrassed.
Okay.
They were embarrassed, and that's why he doesn't want to admit. Now, again, when you look at this by-election, the Emuru Adikir, his party leader is on record saying that from the statistics, from the internal polls that they have conducted, that was going to be the first child of the DCP party. When the results were out, they say that in politics, the winner is celebrated or congratulated. The loser explains. So they started a lot of explanations.
Yes.
That, if we've managed to, garner this number of votes here, it tells you. I'm telling you people, if you don't plan yourself properly, what you've seen in the by-election, and he has said here that on 16th
July,
that Olkalau is going to produce the first
DCP.
I'm here.
MP.
I'm here. God willing, we'll be back here to dissect this. And I hope after they will have lost, he'll be able to receive your call and come back here so that we can debate,
we can do this.
We can
Yes.
Let me just say something about
shortly, please.
What he mentioned about threats that are being issued in Olkalau. And I want to be on record. The member of parliament for Kipipiri, Wanjiku Muhia, said that the people of Kalau will not allow outsiders to be brought here, to be ferried here, to vote or participate in the by-election. And there was a plan, a well-choreographed plan by Moses Kuria and his people. Hear that? To bring in voters, to bring in people from wherever they know, to come and sabotage that election. And when we realized this thing is being planned, this Mheshimiwa took the stage and mentioned the issue publicly so that it be on public record that we want you not to bring non-voters here to sabotage this process. To them, that is communicating that you are sending out people. I mean, why would they be sent out today and they've been living there all this time?
Trisha,
See, there are still people. There are people from Olkalau who lives in other parts of the country. It cannot be. So for these guys in government, you know, they are not used to communication. So when they hear you communicate, they are troubled. Mheshimiwa Wanjiku Muya communicated black and white that non-registered members, if you are not a registered voter in Olkalau, you should not bother yourself going to the polling station because you will not be allowed to vote. And the people of Kalau know themselves. They know each other. They will only ensure that if they see Wendal from Embakasi roaming around Olkalau polling stations, the best they can do is to take you and hand you over to the police so that you deal with the security issues. Mm-hmm. So okay, that is the position, and that is what is there. Whatever anything else they are saying, like I said earlier on, the government survives on propaganda and poor communication.
Even if you are a mad person, let me ask you, Tricia, how can you go to a polling station, to an electorate area that you are not a registered voter and vote, even if you are a mad person? This is now the propaganda I was talking about. You see, whatever that MP said is on record, and I think our viewers will tell you that she called for. You know, you can go to a place by virtue, maybe virtue of work, okay? Maybe you are married in that particular place, okay? So you end up registering as a voter in that particular place, which is not a crime. But whatever the information that they're conveying right now is that even if you are married in that particular place, you are supposed to go back to your home, which is very dangerous.
Okay.
There's no sane Kenyan who can, like, the IBC does not allow it. You can't go to a polling station where you are not registered and vote. And this is the propaganda that Wamunyora, the team, are spinning all over, which is very dangerous.
Okay, people of the internet, this is the Political Headache podcast, and we've been looking at the political temperatures of this week. We've talked about the Mount Kenya, yeah, and now we want to cross over to the issues of the businesses of the Parliament, talking about the National Assembly as well as the Senate. What happened this week? But before we get into that, let me have the producer play for us that clip by Sifuna, the senator.
In fact, one of the clashes that we're having with county governors is that they don't want monies that go to counties to be ring-fenced for specific purposes. But the frustration that is on the ground, and I'm sure colleague senators will agree, is that whenever we lump the county money in the equitable share, most of the times the governors do what they want with that money. The governor of Mombasa appeared before us and told us that the reason why the county governments don't want to employ the UHC workers who are outside our gate just now on permanent and pensionable is because they wanted the money that was disbursed under the County Government Additional Allocations Act to be put in the, what is it called, the equitable share. And Chair, the fear is that this money, once you lump it together with the equitable share, most of the things this House wants to see done are not done. In fact, there was a debate here, I don't know if you remember. We wish as a Senate we would ring fence money for payment of contractors. Because this issue of pending bills has gone on for too long. People come to our offices, Honorable Chair, with all sorts of complaints and so on and so forth. So we asked the governor of Wajir, who's the chair of the COG, we asked the governor, why don't you discuss the additional money that this Senate has fought for? Because as a collective, governors are getting an extra 13 billion shillings, which is actually more than the 8 billion that is going for the PNP for the UHC workers. What is the difference between the 13 billion that we have added as a Senate and the 8 billion that is under county government's additional allocation? Why can't they use the extra money from the Senate under the equitable share, the 13 billion, to have these UHC workers on permanent and pensionable? And they don't have an answer. So we are growing increasingly frustrated, Honorable Speaker.
Well, you heard what Sifuna said, and the issue here, the question is, are governors genuinely underfunded, or are they just avoiding difficult spending priorities, because we have seen what has been happening at our counties, and there's this issue of the ring-fenced funds, whereby now the governors want to have more control over county money, and they prefer all the funds to be released as a part of the general equitable share, allowing them to decide on how to spend the money. And on the other hand, you have heard the senators, they are arguing that when funds are released without conditions, counties often fail to prioritize critical services such as the healthcare and the payment of debts. This is one of the bills that the Senate discussed this week, and also the issue of unpaid pending bills. That is monies owed to contractors. I want to maybe say something about what the governors have been claiming, that every governor, when they come in, they say that I found a lot of unpaid bills, and that is what I've been servicing. So this is a question. I don't know what are your submissions, Ken Babu and Samuel Wendell, around the issue of the ring-fenced funds and the issue of pending bills at county levels. So starting with you, Samuel Wendell, because this is a bill that was presented at the Senate, and you heard what Sifuna said around that money.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tricia, for that. You see, the problem that we have been having in our counties now with successive regimes,
yes,
is what we've talked about, the pending bills. Let's say that a governor is serving his or her last term in office. Contractors will do, the work, they'll do procurement, but you see, they end up not being paid for, whatever the services that they have delivered. And for example, you saw what happened in Machakos County with the case of Wavinya Ndeti.
Yes.
Wavinya was claiming that the people who were claiming that they had not been paid were from the previous administration. So there were those pending bills. And of course, you see, when she came to power, and she also has what to do, okay, with, manifesto and now the funds which were there. So personally, I think that the problem majorly is with the senators, because this is the watchdog. Okay, and it's good that my friend here wants to be one come next year, and I'm wishing him well. The defenders of devolution are the senators. And, before they do this allocation, before they go to the counties, okay, there's always a plan. Each and every financial year, there's always that particular plan. You as a governor, you with your team, what do you want to do? Right? The problem comes, the problem that we used to have before, let's say 2025, you could do your plannings, okay? Then money was, the equitable share or the allocation was being done way late when we are almost crossing to the new financial year. So when you get these funds, what they used to do, pay salary, and the rest take them back to the exchequer for fear of accountability. Okay? So you realize that there are some people, when they were exiting stage, there were those pending bills. So I think because of what we are seeing, the audit that the senators are doing, and actually I think right now they have spiced it up, whereby you see governors are coming, then they audit you, tell them this and this and this and this. So I think this is an area that the senators, they need to tighten, because you see the way we say in the national government, whereby we have, budgeted corruption up here, the way people are claiming. The same with the counties. They are not prioritizing, like, what about these pending bills? How am I supposed to sort them out? They're like, okay, I have a few months to exit office. This is a problem that somebody will come after me is going to deal with, okay? So I think the senators need to do something about that. Now, with regards to the equitable share, Tricia.
Yes.
Right now, things are very different. And I think past years, the national government used to allocate close to 380 billion to the counties, okay? But because of the agreement and the broad-based system and all that, okay, Remember when the governors, they didn't want to be, questioned by the Senate. The other day, there was that particular standoff. What happened? They had a gentleman agreement. And as we speak today, money is being released to the counties in time. Forget about what used to happen. And right now, the amount of money has even been increased to 428. So when you are tasked with this particular amount of money, we expect that accountability also increases. Yeah, so I think this is an area that the Senate needs to do more to hold these people accountable. Yes.
So to you, Ken Babu, and also you can also address this issue of do you think counties need flexibility when it comes to the amounts, the monies that they get from the national government, and do you think that the Senate is attaching too many conditions to the funds that may be limiting the performances of all the local decisions by the counties?
Let me start by the final question, where you're asking if the Senate is restricting the governors on how to spend.
Yes.
I think, Tricia, and I'm on record on this, I've said this times and times, that devolution is one of the best system of governance that we've had as a country.
Yes.
In fact, we should be clapping for ourselves for having brought this Constitution 2010 and having devolution as part of it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, about 10 years, over 10 years down the line, devolution has not been able to achieve its core impact, its core mandate. It has not been able to impact the people as it was expected. And this is because of various issues. Amongst them, corruption, misappropriation of funds, and of course, lack of integrity and transparency by our governors. When the senators are saying that they want to put stringent mechanisms on how this money should be spent, I agree with them totally.
Yes.
I agree with them. Because if this money is not well looked at, proper oversight, then people just take this money and put it in their pockets. Look at 2013, when devolution first-time governors, those are billionaires, first-time MCAs, those are billionaires because there were no clear mechanisms of even doing contract and tenders on all that. We are told that contractors were paid in cash. Wambia wewe ushafanya barabara kuja na gunia ama bag uchukue pesa zako, and there were no traces, there were no receipts. You get that? So when senators are saying that we need to straighten and ensure that there is proper oversight and on how these monies are put to use, I agree with that. Two, in 2026, 2027 allocation, there is an increment of about 22.9 billion, and the county governments are now getting around 428 billion. What Kenyans are asking, and why I agree with Sifuna to some extent, and some senators who are taking this matter very serious, and of course Senator Kajwang, the issue should not be about money, because money allocation of funds to counties have been increasing since we started implementing devolution. Hii pesa imekuwa ikipanda. But if you go to the ground, you cannot feel the impact of devolution. You cannot feel the impact. Why Nairobi are still talking about water shortages? Why are people still crying about garbages and wastages? Why are people still crying about poor drainage and all that? Healthcare, which is devolved. Education, ECD. Governors have not put the right money, money into the right use. So it's not about the conversation, not about how much should be added. First, justify what you have been given. What have you used it for? Because to whom much is given, much is expected. Get that? And if you look at the Public Finance Management Act, 30% of the total budget should be secluded for development expenditure, and not more than 70% should go into recurrent, which involve salaries, operations, allowances, utilities, and maintenance of all that. But if you look at our county governments today, don't be shocked to realize that a governor would spend up to 80 over cap in recurrent expenditure, only leaving 20% to development. But still, they cannot justify why they are doing that. Why? most county governments have nurtured this culture of ghost workers. And I want to give a case study of Homa Bay because they are the recent case. A governor comes in with a team, a delegation from her county, and almost half of the top leadership are in acting capacity. You hear somebody says that I'm the chief officer, this and this, and also acting as a CS or a waziri or a CC. Hear that? You hear that somebody says that I am the director and also acting. In fact, in her entire battalion delegation, out of the about 8 CCs who are there, almost 5 are acting. And you know, when somebody is acting, their powers are limited. They cannot implement to a certain extent. Then it means that the decisions that are being made in those departments lies on the governor's desk. So the governor is robot controlling the county. So then at that point, if she decides that, for instance, Minister of Education is in acting capacity, Minister of Sports, Youth, and I don't know, Fisheries and all that, acting. So if these people, they were a budget was put, and the governor decides and says, okay, you have to cut it this way. And remember, these governors, some of them have also held the county assemblies at ransom to an extent that a budget that the governor is looking for is what should be passed. In fact, most of these counties, their budget making process do not happen in the assemblies. They happen in some private offices of the governors. Some happen here in Nairobi, and their county governments in the villages. And that's why the other time you had Edwin Sifuna, Nairobi senator, welcoming Samburu governor back to Nairobi. Because anyway, he was also surprised that this guy is saying that he came from Samburu. Kumbe anakatu hapa, budget wanaundia hapa.
Anaishi hapa tu karibu.
Wa MCAs wanaishi hapa. You get? So it is something that is very critical. And I agree with the Senate on the issue of putting their eyes on this money. Because a Kenyan in the ground, mwananchi pale mashinani, anataka kuona what this money is doing. You get? And remember, the Senate do not have a budget. Senate does not have anything, or there's a conversation around having oversight budget or something like that. Yeah,
I remember that conversation, yes.
But that hasn't stopped the senators do what they should do. And in fact, I want to applaud the current Senate as it is. You know, I might not agree with Cherargei on many issues, but I agree with him when he stands out on the floor and calls out even the 2-term governors when it comes to mismanagement and misappropriation of public funds. I might not agree with some senators. And if you look at the recent case was on Governor Abdullahi, the governor for, is it Mandera or somewhere? Who is also the chair of Council of Governors.
Yes.
And he's also a 2-term brigadier. And is a member of ODM party. Cherargei says that he asked the governor certain critical questions. And the governor looked at him, looked left, and looked right and told him, bro, I'm in broad base. I cannot answer. So what I'm saying is, we must allow the senators to do that work. You saw recently Gladys Wanga was before the committee.
Yes.
And she was saying that they use 500,000 to construct a pit latrine. And you ask yourself, what kind of a pit latrine is that? That takes almost 500,000. And if that is a pit latrine in Homa Bay, then what would it cost a pit latrine in Nairobi? If that's a pit latrine in Homa Bay, then Nairobi, Sakaja will soon tell us they are spending 3 million to contract a pit latrine. So we are looking for proper use of these funds. The conversation should not be about increments of allocation.
Yes.
The conversation should be, how are we spending what is there first?
Okay.
Before we ask for increment.
Okay.
So this message should go to the chairman of Council of Governors. Before you come and ask the senators to add you more money, come and present to Kenyans, what have you done with the previous allocation?
Okay, let's cross over to the National Assembly, that is the lower house. And I'm looking at 2 critical bills this week that the Parliament looked at. And this is the Supplementary Appropriation, that is number 2, Bill 2026, and the Finance Bill 2027, which of course has been one of the key things that Kenyans didn't sleep following what is happening with the Finance Bill. So on the supplementary bill, I was just looking at, and the question that people are asking is, why is the government seeking an additional 13.8 billion shillings just days before the close of the financial year? Just to give you a bit of a background around supplementary budgets or adjustments in our country, is that the year 2023-2024, about 102 billion shillings was authorized through the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2024. The overall budget was revised downward by 132.46 billion while reallocating funds to urgent priorities. That is around June 2024, as we are crossing over to the year 2024-2025. 2024-2025, we are looking, or we are seeing what the cabinet approved. That is an additional of 199.9 billion shillings in supplementary expenditure during the financial year. That is almost around the same time. And then this year, that is last year, 2025-2026, we are seeing this second bill of supplementary, that which I just touched on when I was starting this conversation, and it's around 13.885 billion shillings, which yesterday was of course approved and authorized through the Supplementary Appropriation number 2 Bill 2026 for urgent shortfalls before June 30th 2026, before we close this financial year. Now for this 2025-2026, people would want to ask, why is that supplementary amount so small compared to the previous years? And I was looking at what has been happening, and I saw like 2025-2026, the total budget was 4.3 trillion. And then now there was a revised budget after supplementary estimates of 4.695 after it was revised, it became 4.695 trillion. That is after an increase of 393.15 billion shillings. And these were under the category of the national government with 363.8 billion shillings and consolidated fund services of 29.2 billion shillings. So together with the current supplementary, which was approved yesterday, we are making the total to be recurrent expenditure. Okay, we are making the total to be, that is plus the 13,885. We are making it to 407.041 billion shillings. Of course, one of the highest in terms of the supplementary budgets for the 3 years that I've talked about. So I want to hear your submissions around why should we approve these budgets just a few days to the end of the financial year?
Tricia, I think let me first say that the National Assembly is the upper house. It's not the lower house. Because you see today, National Assembly is the only house in this country that can pass a bill, and that bill is assented to without going to, or without the bill being taken to the Senate. Now, you see, having a supplementary budget, it's not something new. It's always there. And supplementary comes in because, remember, when you are reading a budget, we always work with approximations.
Yes.
Budget approximates. But now, remember that we always say, maybe we approximate that we are going to collect this amount of money. At the tail end, you realize that maybe we didn't manage to collect that money, or we had maybe budgeted for this, and now some issues came out. Now, the supplementary, bill, or whatever you're talking about, the other, which was passed in Parliament the other day, actually one of the main reasons that the MPs were giving was that this particular amount of money is going to support the operations. Actually, it was majorly for operation. And I know maybe it might be fishy, or people might read into it, because we are just few days to the end of end of this financial year.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know maybe many people didn't march into it, but I think the parliament and the majority leader, they pronounced themselves and said that this amount of money is majorly for operations. And you saw the other day, you know, last year, maybe when we are reading this budget, the current budget, we maybe we had not factored in the France summit, the France-Africa summit. And of course, you know, these are things that, you know, when you are hosting these people, these are things that you have to budget for. So maybe, and I think that's why the parliament, that's why they were talking about operations. So let us not read too much into this. Supplementary budgets.
Okay.
What we need to do is now the accountability. That's the aspect that we need to.
So what are you telling Kenyans? Not to mind about the supplementary budgets?
I'm
yes?
telling Kenyans that supplementary budgets is not something which is new. It has always been there.
Yes.
What Kenyans need to be on the look for is accountability. How is this money going to be used? That's all.
Because the question is,
yes,
right now, if we are talking about a supplementary budget, there are some things that need to be done. Yes. Want to understand, how long will this money take to get to the intended maybe contractors and so forth before it is 30th of June?
No, you see, these people talked about operations. And you see, operation entails a lot. And remember, it's not in one office only, several offices. Okay? This actually, when I heard this debate, the MPs were talking about operations in these offices. So I think that one should be very clear.
Okay, so does it mean that, that means that they've been doing some expenditures without the approval?
Not really. You see, like I've given an example of the Africa, Forward Summit that happened here the other day. I believe that maybe these are things which were not budgeted for. Because remember, for an event to happen, maybe it always takes like 6 months planning. Yeah, but see, by then, we had already had the budget. So what happens is, we come up with the supplementary. Now, if money is taken from somewhere which was supposed to do something, you also have to look at, in a way, how to fix it. So that's why we come up with supplementary budget. Supplementary budget is just to complement what we had in the financial year.
So let's hear from Ken Babu. Ken, do you think there is a problem in the budgeting of this country if every other year we shall be talking about those supplementary budgets and all that? Is there a problem in the budgeting of our country?
I think we don't have a problem with the budgeting. We have problems with people who have been mandated and tasked to do the budgeting. Now you see, if you look at how even the members of parliament in this country today operate, members of parliament are elected to do very basic roles, just 3. Legislation, oversight, and most importantly, the more important role of a member of parliament is representation.
Representation, yes.
So that the grievances or the issues that I have as Ken Babu can be placed on the floor of the house without me going to parliament.
Yes.
Yes. So then, if I say that the government is planning to do this, and it's a subject to the legislation, my MP can come on the ground, do public participation, and submit my thoughts as a voter, as an electorate. But what do we see today? Members of parliament are taking instructions from elsewhere. When they get to parliament, they shift allegiance from their real bosses to other bosses. Case study, yesterday, before I come to your question, we saw what happened in the floor of the House on the issue about finance bill voting. And we saw how things were, and things got messy. And this is not the first time. And I think 2024 maybe might have not warned these people enough. Or maybe they are trying to downplay the happenings of 2024. And I'm foreseeing a situation where it might be bad if things are not well managed. Because 40 MPs voted against this bill, the finance bill. 122 MPs voted for the finance bill. But before even we go on the issue of how they voted, Parliament is made up of 349 members. 290 elected, 47 women rep, and 12 nominated. Out of the 349 members, we were discussing a very critical bill that is going to determine how the economic situation of this country will be, that will affect even the voters in Nyalugunga village. that affect people in Kanyawegi, where I come from. But still, we could not even get up to 50% of members of parliament in the House. We only had 162, which brings us to around 45.46%. Then it tells you the lack of seriousness with which our MPs are handling the affairs of this country. If you only need 162 MPs to pass a critical bill of such manner, then why are we going to the ballot to elect 349 and pay them with taxpayers' money? That is the question number one that Kenyans are asking. Number two, Kenyans are asking, the 186 members of parliament, I'm saying 186 because of Kalau do not have an MP for now. These 186 MPs who are not in parliament yesterday, where were they? What were they doing? And what are they running from? There are only two ways. Either they had eaten some money from somebody and they are running from accountability from that guy, or they have abandoned the Kenyans and the electorate who voted for them and they do not care about them. And I have credible information that some of them were just loitering around Serena and Sarova, taking coffee and mandazi, chopping live and eating nyamachoma. At the time, a discussion that is going to impact the economic standards of this country is being discussed. So I think when it comes to representation, members of parliament have really failed us. Now to the supplementary bill. I'm so shocked that supplementary appropriation bill is being brought to parliament. Is being put to effect 12 days to the end of financial year. How long? How much do you need to spend per day to deal with the billions that have been allocated here within 12 days? And then, like my brother mentioned about issues of operations. In that operation, they are saying that State House budget has increased from by about 400 million. State House budget up to 8.97 billion. So you're asking yourself, what's the justification? Does it mean that State House have got more employees being brought to place, or the cost of sugar is high, or State House also is affected by the cost of living? Probably the people around State House are also affected by cost of living. They can no longer purchase a kilo of unga at the usual price of around 100. So they need more budget to get that unga. Number two, the Executive Office of the President received an additional funding of 2.63 billion, increasing its revised budget to 8.2 billion. State House, Office of the President. Is it not the same person? Is this not the same person? So, in a layman's understanding, so that my grandmother in Kanyawegi can understand what I'm talking about, I am saying that when William Ruto leaves State House to come to Harambee House, he needs a budget of 8.2 billion to sit at Harambee House. But when William Ruto leaves Harambee House, go back to State House, where he lives, he needs a budget of 8.97 billion. This is the same individual. But remember, in the same country where people are grappling with critical issues such as health, education, get 2 or 3, the Office of the Deputy President, Kindiki himself, received an additional funding of 2.1 billion. I'm seeing my brother is laughing because now you see, I'm not touching at his boss directly. That is where he also siphoned something to take back to Mbagasi. 2.1 billion, raising its revised budget to 5.17 billion. Now Kenyans are asking, are these the operations that require a supplementary budget so that they can be fixed? And what are the kind of operations that happens in these offices that demand such? You get? And now they come and tells us that wanakuja natuambia that cabinet, office of the prime cabinet secretary moves to 272.3 million. An office that constitutionally is illegal and should not be there in the first place is being allocated that amount of money. And then we are told that the State Department for Parliamentary Affairs has got 76 million. Now Kenyans are asking, these monies has been allocated well, and we have 12 days to the end of financial year.
Yes.
How much will they be spending per day to give us a report that these monies were actually spent in the right manner? This is what we call, in a layman's language, budgeted corruption. Mr. William Ruto and the administration have connived and agreed to steal from the public. And that is what we call, if I'm not missing it, kakistocracy. Government of thieves. Government of thieves. Few people with proximity to power sitting together and deciding that they are going to steal from the less privileged. That is what is happening in this case. My brother has mentioned something to do with the France summit. And he said that it was not budgeted for. Tricia, let me tell you. The president did not just wake up one day and said that I want to host Macron here. And I don't have a budget, so what do I do? Even you in your house, member of parliament for Imbagasi, in your house, you cannot impregnate your wife if you have not made up your plans on how you will purchase diaper. If you do that, then the wife has got the right to arrest you, take you to the police station. Wewe ni mwanaume hujajipanga. Ni mtu bure. So what I'm saying is this.
Yes.
It cannot be justifiable that the president had planned to host all that delegation here without a budget. And now they need this supplementary budget to go and fix somewhere that they had, unless Mr. William Ruto loaned the country to host that thing, and now he's paying himself. That is what he's trying to say. So what I'm saying about this is that, number one, critical issues. Our members of parliament have failed us big time. Number two, the government is stealing from the people. This is broad daylight public theft of public funds. And Rigathi Gachagua said it yesterday, that these guys have just connived to steal from the people. And I believe this. Looking at the figures here, timelines that are there, vis-a-vis what need to be spent, this is public theft from the public.
Okay, yeah, thank you. You want to respond?
Just something.
Please, briefly, please.
When I talked about operations, I didn't want to go into details. You see, State House is a different entity from the office of the president. That's a fact. The way State House operates and the way the office of the president operates are way different. There might be, there might be one person in those positions, but it's very different. So maybe I think what you're saying, and I think this is just propaganda, the way I was saying, because you are reading too much into it, that you have 12 days and all, this amount of money is being allocated. Remember in the Africa-France, summit that I was talking about, there's amount of money that the Kenyan government is supposed to contribute, being that it was the host, and France, France as well, that they were contributing to this. So I'm so sure that such kind of, funds were not allocated before. So I think this is where these funds are going to.
Okay, that's okay. So let's get back again to the National Assembly. Look at the 2026 finance bill. Of course, it is a bill that has had a lot of issues. Considering what we saw in 2024, 2025 was a bit silent. We didn't hear any issues. I don't know whether it's because there was a lot happening, but now 2026, around now the finance bill, we have seen the critics of the government coming out and saying that this is the 2024 bill that has been just brought in a different form. So, but now the government argues that theirs is just, they just changed, they said they changed, they don't want to add taxes to Kenyans. What they are looking at is just to broaden the tax base. So, Ken Babu, you saw how your MPs voted. Umekuwa hapo ukituambia how many of them voted yes for the bill, and how many of them voted no, and those who absconded the business of the House yesterday. And actually, you see, those MPs, members of Parliament, who did not attend yesterday, most of the time we say when you get absent, of course, you are voting yes.
You are supporting,
Yeah, you are supporting what is happening there. So we are assuming that those members of Parliament, if you are outside there, the viewers, and your member did not attend the session yesterday, that is like, it's like they voted yes for that bill.
And in
so,
fact,
yes.
In fact, we are working on the list of shame. I will release it.
The list of shame.
By close of business tomorrow. I will have the list of 186 MPs who opted to go and chop life, kula nyama,
do their own things,
and hang around as Kenyans' fate was being decided. Whereas they have the responsibility to represent. Ama walitaka tuende tupitishe finance bill sisi wenyewe.
Well, I just want to, because having a majority voting yes, it means that according to them, the bill is quite okay. So I want to hear from you, and also to the dear viewers, people of the internet outside there. So maybe you can just text or tell us on our social media platform whether this bill, according to you, is okay, because we saw a majority of the members of Parliament voted yes, while the minority, of course, voted no, and the rest absconded, assuming that they also were supporting the bill. So I want to hear from you, Samuel Wendal, around this bill. Why are you supporting this bill? Or why is your administration supporting this bill?
Well, thank you. And I must first say that it's very unfortunate that the people that we elect to go and represent us are deciding, intentionally not to go to the floor, to debate and participate in such kind of a bill. You know, it's a consequential bill. And the moment that they chickened out, they have said they supported it. Personally, I wanted them to appear. And I've heard my friend here say that maybe one of the reasons is that maybe they were supporting it, or they didn't know the content of the bill. And that's what we saw yesterday. Now, you see, there's this notion that a finance bill is supposed to add taxes to Kenyans. And that's the notion that, people from the opposition, that's what they have been peddling around. They've been telling us that, finance bill, the work of a finance bill is to add taxes to Kenyans, which is not the case. And I'm so happy with what happened yesterday and all the debates that we've had with regards to the finance bill. Most of the opposition politicians, they were hoping that what we had in 2024, we'll have it again. We were to have it again yesterday, which to their disappointment, it didn't work. And that's why you could see them moving around the country, inciting Kenyans about the finance bill. Oh, the bill is going to add this and this and this particular taxes to, to Kenyans, which was never the case. Yesterday, if you followed the proceedings, you could see members of the opposition, they were being asked, please, can you tell us in this particular clause, or in which clause in this particular bill where you have a problem or where there's a problem? You see, these people, they resorted to heckling. I remember, for example, look at Kenyan member of Parliament yesterday. He told us that there's a clause in that bill that wanted to add taxes to Mtumba. When he was pressed to tell Kenyans the specific clause that wants to add taxes to Mtumba, the guy had to withdraw and apologize for misleading us.
Okay.
Yes, so, and so many cases. In fact, I think to these people, they were majorly depending on their, principles, in the so-called opposition to read for them this particular finance bill and go to work with that particular information to Parliament to debate it there, not knowing that Parliament is a house of rules, whereby you can't just come and claim without, substantiating where you're getting that particular information from. So I want to, thank the majority leader. I'm telling you, yesterday the guy was spot on. I think he had a proper understanding of this bill to an extent that if you went there with your propaganda, the guy could stand up and ask you, where is that clause? Can you mention it? And we all saw it. I think the problem that we had with the 2024 finance bill was that there was no proper communication. So people were, somebody was coming with information and all that. Like in this one, you've seen the issue of, I even had an MP claiming that they wanted to add tax to, I've talked about Mitumba, the battery, the lithium battery, which is not there. The rentals, which was not the case. So when they were pressed, they were like, okay, I withdraw.
Okay.
But, we thought that it was there.
Okay.
Yes.
So now I'm going to open our lines so that now you can call in. You also participate in the conversation that is happening right now. So our phone producer has put the phone number there. So please call. Participate in this conversation as we continue. But I want to say something around the Kathiani Member of Parliament. But wait, we receive this call first. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
How are you doing?
We are good here.
I think the likes of Ken Babu.
Yes.
If these are the kind of people we are going to have in the next parliament, I think the state of parliament will be worse than what it is today. Because Babu is that he can actually. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Continue.
Yes, if Babu can say that he is following an impeached character when he knows very well chapter 6 of Constitution talks about the purity of the culture. Actually, when we promulgated this Constitution, we anticipated that by dint of public uproar, you are supposed to respect. That has not happened. So I think the likes of Babu is a good guy. They want to masquerade as reformists under the umbrella of, no, look, we can't do this thing around. We need this person because we are running away from tribal politics. But this kind of guy is taking aback that today a person impeached, then you are taking credit for somebody telling you that if it is not regarded, then the credibility of that information is not. So I think these guys, what I would want this guy to do is to focus on the policy, because the way he's talking, we are likely to end up with crooks 2027 more than any other parliament we've had, because they have no policy. They run with political narratives, and if you bring them to discourse where we are logically discussing, they will not run away from.
Okay.
They run away from. So they want to run away with the narrative. I think the best thing to do, this nonsense of branding people, you are pro-government, you are anti-government, you are all of us. The fact of the matter is this: we are Kenyans. What do we need? We need good governance. We point out what government has done, which is wrong, what government has done, which is good. But you cannot say to oppose government in all manner of things just because you want political bonus. That's nonsense. You got a point.
Yes.
So can we? You see, it's like we want to be able, like, all Kenyans are against William Ruto. It's factually incorrect. That's not true. So if we believe that all people are against William Ruto, why then do you run behind somebody like Omunyoro or somebody like Kalonzo? So what exactly is the difference between Rigathi Gachagua and Ruto, or Kalonzo Musyoka and Ruto? Just tell me the one difference. The difference is that one is in power, one is not in power. So can we account for the number of years that Kalonzo has been in government, the policies that he has brought on? So let us go on the basis of their credentials politically. What do they stand for?
Okay.
So, and this, let me land on this. I think we are fixated by sloganeering now to get people elected. So we are not ready after change. So let us go for election, choose your side, people will choose their side, let people decide on the ballot. Once we are done with that, we can now sit as Kenyans, as young people, to decide what we want, set a vision for the country, and then follow it forward. You to Ruto, you need the Gachagua. So you are telling us invariably that we need Mount Kenya for us. So this fallacy that Kenya, the political landscape of Kenya is given by Mount Kenya is nonsense. It's not true. So even if Mount Kenya believes that it is only them and them alone, that whoever they decide to settle on becomes the president, then why don't they just say, okay, we have the numbers, so let's face other Kenyans, if that's the case. We have the numbers. So let's produce our presidential candidate, and Kenyans, you also rally behind whoever you want to be. So let's meet at the ballot.
Okay.
So I don't believe in that. So let me land on this. I think the best we can do is to be logical. Okay. Otherwise, we are impervious to logic.
Okay, thank
you.
We
are simply impervious to logic.
Thank you.
Because if you are a man, if you are somebody like Babu, why would they say you see nothing what government does, and you want to replace the same government with the same groups that were in support? So let me give you an example. So in 2023, we were on streets, the Sufuria movement. None other than the person is pretending to be giving them credible information from the government went to his office as early as 5 a.m.
I think we've lost you. Yeah, we've lost you. You can still call again. Our number is right there on the screen. Kindly call us, participate in this conversation that we are doing right here on Political Headache. Ken, I think and I hope that you've taken notes on his concerns. You will respond shortly. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, good evening. My name is Ntenga Njogu.
Yes.
I would like to.
From?
I'm calling from Dubai.
Okay, Dubai.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
so
go on.
What I wanted to say is that I would like to applaud the people like there is a NP who addressed the issue of tax on mitumbas. Mm-hmm. And for me, is because that bill was there and then it was removed. It was very important for it to be put on record because, I feel like, this regime has a tendency of bringing the things back down. So when it goes on record, then they cannot put it they cannot bring it through the back door. Because now you see, like the way the majority leader stood and asked, where is the bill? So now he goes on the record that it is not there. So in future, if it will be brought back, mm-hmm. then people can be able to trace back, and they say that you say this bill was not there. But if he did not address it, then you don't have a record to show that it was not there in the first place. You get my point?
Yes.
And the second thing I would like to say that I support the reinforcing of the bill through the Senate in the counties.
Yes.
Because now see, yesterday, Sifuna appeared before a committee, and the Mandera Senate, Ali Roba, blocked Sifuna to address the governor of Nairobi on the basis that he doesn't belong to this committee. But was it really fair? Because Sifuna is supposed to oversight this governor. And he went there, he had some issue he wanted to address, and then he was denied. Where else do we want Sifuna to address this issue if it is not in these committees? Because the most powerful tool in the Senate is the committees. Mm-hmm. So for me, I completely don't understand how this Senate works, because their work is to oversight the counties. Mm-hmm. And if they cannot use the tool that they are given by the Constitution to oversight the counties, then I wonder what is their work. Because I feel like there are some people who doesn't understand their mandate at all in this Senate. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can keep on calling. You can keep on writing to us. That is on our YouTube, because we are following your conversations right here. I'm seeing this saying that there's someone here saying that since the bill originates from the executive, it's up to us to have an executive that follows the law. As simple as that. If a bill is good, it would never need too much work to pass. Yeah, so there's also somebody who talked about, okay, yeah, this one says, that is Emmanuel Kahindi. He's saying the bill would have passed even if the whole house was present. Majority of the absentees are pro-bill. We should not get bitter with the opposing side. There's something that Akola had an issue with. Ken Babu, you can respond to that, as well as to Samuel Wendell, because you said something around this bill, the Mitumba bill, because they said that tax was removed. Actually, it was there in the bill, and they say that the tax was removed, but pending return. That is what they said.
Yeah.
Yes, so let's hear your response, please.
Thank you so much. Listening to the caller, I would say that the caller is extremely emotional. And to some extent, he imagines that because he disagrees with Gachagua, Ken Babu should disagree with Gachagua. That shouldn't be the case. If he has issues with the Gachagua and he thinks that he cannot listen to him because he was impeached, that does not mean that he can now give me directions not to listen to him because he was impeached. The same way I cannot convince him to listen to Gachagua. You see? And then he mentioned something to say that, to insinuate that we are thinking that everybody hates President William Ruto. We are not saying that we are thinking. We have not said that we are thinking. We have not said that everybody hates him. But it is clear on record, from wherever he lives, he can count up to 10 people, even in his own household, who does not agree with how this government is being run. People have nothing, and I've said this times and times. Nobody, including myself, has got personal issues with President Ruto. If today he ceases to be a president, nobody will talk about him. People have got issues with how the country is being managed, and that's where the conversation should be. So that is why we must cap our conversation. If he talks about good governance, does abduction, corruption, budget corruption, killings resonate with good governance? No. So when we say, when we bring up those issues, we cannot bring them up while we sit on the same table with the person who is perpetuating those events. Get? It is imperative that we stay on this side and check and tell them this and this and this is wrong. That is what we are doing. And being on this side, then we have to be with some people here. And that's where Gachagua and the Kalonzo that is mentioning comes in. What we must agree as Kenyans, everybody has a constitutional right to agree and disagree with the government of the day. And everybody has a constitutional right to be in a party or in a faction they think or they believe will push them to where they are heading to.
Okay.
So him saying that I would make part of a bad parliament just because I don't agree with William Ruto, whom he is supporting. That's not where the conversation should be. If he's going to reason that way on the ballot, then he's part of the biggest problem that we're going to have at the ballot. So my closing remarks on that issue of the caller, I've picked that he has got personal problem with the person of Munyoro. And I don't think that should be copy-pasted to other people.
I think that is fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah, so to the callers, keep on calling us. Our number is right there on the screen. You can just call and let us know what you're thinking about the discussion right here at the Political Headache. So over to you, Samuel.
Thank you so much, Tricia. And I want to thank our callers for being brutal with the truth. I love that guy who talked about good governance. And, the guy is saying that why are you a descendant of somebody who is lost? That's what he's saying in a nutshell. And I think that's something that Ken Babu needs to tell us. Why is he following somebody who is lost? The guy is so critical. And I don't remember him mentioning whether he's supporting Ruto or not. I don't know why he's concluding. He didn't say so. You know what the guy questioned was? The guy was like, Kalonzo has been in politics for 40 years. Okay?
Yes.
Kalonzo Musyoka, what do you have to show Kenyans? Because you see, I keep on telling these people that the kind of conversation that we are going to have next year is, you've held a political office. You've been a leader before. What did you do with that position? How did you change the lives of Kenyans? That's the debate that we are going to have. And that's the same thing that that particular caller is talking about. That Kalonzo, you've been in politics for 40 years. Okay? Tell us, how many roads have you constructed? Then, the president will also be on this particular weighing scale. I've done the following roads. I've done the following projects. This is what I've done. And this is my roadmap. And this is where I want to take the country to. This other side, they don't have anything. And I love the fact that that particular caller has talked about the politics of sloganeering. Do you know why we have such kind of politics? It's just to whip up emotions of Kenyans.
Have you responded to the question?
Hold on, I'm building a case. So this guy, these people, their work is to come up with slogans to whip up emotions, okay, to maybe excite the masses. Because I keep on asking them, they tell us 1 term must go. After 1 term, or after must go as gone, what do they have to offer? Nothing. So politics of sloganeering, it's something that if you are not so careful, and you see politicians love it because they know they're going to whip up your emotion. Now, there was a question on Mitumba.
Yes.
Tricia, if you look at how Bunge operates, Bunge, for a bill to become an act of parliament, it goes through, I think, close to 9 stages. Okay? We have, the first reading, where the bill is introduced to the floor.
Yes.
Okay? In the plenary. So whoever sponsored that bill is introducing that bill to the plenary. If it was a committee chairperson, he or she will introduce the bill. If it's a government bill, we expect the majority leader to introduce that bill. If it's an individual member bill, we expect that individual MP to introduce that bill. Now, once that bill has been introduced, immediately it's being taken to the relevant committee. Okay?
Yes.
Now, the committee has 2 roles. To go through the bill, okay, and to do public participation. After they have done public participation, okay, they come with what we call a report. That we went to these particular counties, we went to these particular constituencies, we did a public participation, and this is what Wananchi are saying. Now, when they come back to Parliament, in what we call the second reading, they table their report. And it's that particular report is what guides, okay, the next phase of the debate. Tricia, let me say this, that the work, the way my friend here said, that the work of an MP is representation, oversight, and legislation. It doesn't matter where a proposal comes from, okay? It can come from the executive, it can come from, it doesn't matter. What matters is that when this bill comes to the parliament, you people, good people, are you going to speak on behalf of the people who elected you to this office? That is that's how it's being done. So I don't know why most people are blaming the executive. Now, in the Mitumba case, when these people went and did public participation, when they came back with a report.
Yes.
And in that particular report, whatever they are saying or whatever they are talking about was not there. Okay? And that's why they were being asked, can you substantiate in which clause is talking about, increasing taxes on Mitumba? It was not there because I think these people, they went to AI. And then they scanned some few stuff and they were like, okay, it talks about Mitumba and blah, blah, blah. So let us tell the people about it. MPs who don't even have an idea what a Mitumba is because they don't even use them. They don't even wear them.
Ooh.
The MPs, they don't wear them. These people, they go and shop in high-end,
Yes.
shops. So the issue of Mitumba was not there. And I think...
Was not there? What are you saying? Was it not in the bill?
The issue, okay, you see,
yes,
what was proposed was actually scrapping off. Okay, they wanted to do what we call exemption, VAT exemption. There's 16%. That is what was in this particular bill. But you see now, people are propagating. People are saying, people are spinning propaganda. More so the opposition, they were saying that they want to increase taxes, which is something which was not there. So
let's receive this call. Hello, what's your name and where are you coming from? Hello.
I'm called Newton.
Yes, where are you calling from?
Newton.
Yes, Newton, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from
Kiambu.
I'm calling from Kiambu.
What's your submission?
Yeah. Yes, to my submission.
Yes.
Around the politics in Kenya, which you are experiencing right now. Is why some MPs they have absentee MPs that fail to go to the parliament so that they can stand with the fellow Kenyans. Are we living? Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, and please tell Ken Babu that is speaking the right things which are affecting the fellow citizens. In the issue of Wamunyo being frustrated at he was going to the office at 5, that should not be the problem. The problem is things that are affecting citizens. If you get president how he's speaking of his fellow competitors who are which want to bring the need. The people that want change in our country.
Okay.
So to the MPs, my problem is the MPs that the 187 MPs that failed to attend the budget voting. Should be taken and we should take action come 2027, and we as Gen Zs we're going to stand with the Kenyans.
Okay, thank you.
Great for me, Ken Babu.
Ken Babu mesalimiwa. Yeah, thank you. Well, he's raised a very serious concern, by the way. If these people, they know their business, and if they cannot be available, they cannot be present when they are supposed to make critical decisions about Kenyans. I think there is a question, or is it that they are fearing, because you remember that time, 2024, Kenyans were pointing and telling you, yes, we know you voted, yes, we know you. Were they just trying to avoid such a scenario in future?
But I've just said here that by close of business tomorrow, I shall have provided we shall have the list of those who did not vote. You know, it's good you show up so that Kenyans can know that you voted in support. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen for the 122? Everybody knows that Kimani Ichung'wah could have not voted in any other direction apart from voting yes. I mean, these people, what we are talking about is they have to show up to do that which they are paid to do. They are not paid to hide somewhere around chopping life as Kenyans make the critical decisions as far as finance bill is concerned. They needed the first question we are asking them, why didn't you show up before we even pick their mind on which direction they were going to vote?
Yes.
At this point, the most important thing is to know. Maybe we might be thinking that they can't, and maybe they are dead. So we have to know their welfare. We have to follow their welfare. No, Mheshimiwa ulikuwa So what happened? Why didn't you show up? So that is it. Let me say something about.
Please, shortly, because we need to wind up.
Let me say something about Caleb Amisi. And recently you heard Caleb Amisi on different occasions saying that he will not allow Edwin Sifuna and Lina Mwananchi to work with the United Opposition. And then he said that he will only allow Sifuna to deputize Maraga. And then he went ahead and sneaked into a United Opposition rally in Kitale. So he's telling Sifuna, Babu Owino, James Orengo and Lina Mwananchi faction not to work with the United Opposition. And he himself sneaks his way into the United Opposition rallies and addresses the people.
Okay.
So that is being lukewarm.
Yes.
That is being lukewarm. And I just want to say that he should not try to practice politics of gatekeeping, where he wants to warn the other guys not to come, and then he comes and holds on the gate and dictates on terms in which they will be admitted. Hiyo Caleb Amisa wachane nayo.
Okay.
Edwin Sifuna, Babu Wino, Orengo are equally invited and welcomed.
Well, okay. Yeah, so let's do this. Give us your final submission around, do you think, I mean, what is the state of the Kenyan parliament as we speak right now? Are these people really representing the Kenyan citizens? Are they doing that which we sent them to the parliament to do as we wind up?
As I wind up, thank you. Let me also say that the Tower of Babel is collapsing, so please don't blame Caleb Amisi. Now, back to your question. I think that question is relative. But I must say that the MPs, to larger extent, they are not doing what they are supposed to do. Because you saw yesterday, when these people were needed most, they were nowhere to be seen. And I keep on saying, Tricia, that there's no day that we'll talk about the parliament or the business of Bunge, whatever they do in Bunge, without at least mentioning the fact or mentioning political parties. You know, whatever happens in that particular house boils down to our political parties. Because remember, before a decision is made, there's always what we call a PG. These MPs, they'll be called somewhere, or information will be passed through their leaders. From the majority side, you have the majority leader. From the minority side, you have the minority leader. So once that position has been made, that is what they're supposed to go with. The moment you go against it, there's a way that the party is going to deal with you. So the question, as I conclude, the question that Kenyans need to ask is, do we use, or do we go for this, do we opt for a political party as a vehicle to parliament or to power, or do we opt for a political party because of an ideology? That's the question that I'll be leaving our viewers with.
Okay, thank you so much, Samuel, for coming. Ken Babu?
Thank you so much.
In a second, actually.
Thank you so much. I think I will just say that our politics starts and is more party-based. And political parties have got a responsibility to sieve through and give people representation, and men and women who can legislate, men and women who can do proper oversight. We should not end up with people who will turn into affordable MPs and affordable senators, only listening to the executive side of the government. So we are looking for representatives, legislators, and most importantly, political parties must not sideline young people in the run-up for 2027 election. And start giving us politics of popularity and say that this person is walifanya nini wanajulikana. What we are looking for is men and women who have committed to serve the interests of the people. And the young people must be given equal opportunity to go to the ballot. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for choosing the Political Headache podcast. Thank you for joining this conversation. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. So until next time, goodbye for now. My name is Tricia Wayua.
All right, people of the internet, I hope that you're enjoying this episode very much. And I just had a break to tell you about my new book. You know, everybody says that there is no job, and that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their town, in their city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs, mothers call uncles, uncles call brothers, but there are no jobs. Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world and there is no one to do them except you. I work for Americans myself. I work for Europeans. I work for the Chinese. I work for the Australians. I work for the Canadians. And so, because I have done so much for myself, I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I've been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a digital book called Goldmine 18 Hustles for Africans. And then in 2025, AI came. People say AI is taking away our jobs. And for me, I'm going to say false. There are actually AI jobs. Jobs are not being taken by AI, but there are new jobs online that are there because of AI. Now, mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. And for now, in my new book, we have 25 online and offline jobs that you can leverage on if you do not have a job. So in this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I've made and lessons I've learned over the 15 years that I have worked online. So what can you do online? You can become an executive assistant for busy folks in Europe, America, Canada, and get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. Okay? You can build a lot of things. Build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce shop without capital, be an affiliate marketer, or you can also become actually an English tutor and tens of AI jobs. If you have a job, that is fine. But I also know that you can buy this book for that brother, for that sister, for that mother, for that cousin, for that husband who is watching Netflix all day at home. Buy it for your friend who is always asking for cash. You know that friend. Now, all the information is on the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or go to my website, which is odworjegero.co.ke.